No one at Fort Calder spoke her name aloud, not because they didn't recognize her, but because something about her made people uneasy. Her name was Lieutenant Rowan Pierce, a woman whose quiet presence could drain the noise from any room. To most eyes, she was simply a reserved, disciplined officer who kept her head down and her opinions to herself. She never bragged, never postured, never explained. What almost no one knew, aside from a few officials in the Defense Department and a handful of individuals bound by ironclad non-disclosure agreements, was that Rowan Pierce ranked among the most dangerous close-quarters combat specialists ever produced by an elite naval program. Her service record was locked away, her deployments erased from public files. Her reputation buried beneath layers of dull administrative work she'd been reassigned to after a classified operation overseas spiraled out of control. The troops on base assumed she was just another logistics officer temporarily slotted into the training rotation to observe. No one suspected she had shattered the arms of cartel enforcers with nothing but leverage and timing. No one imagined she had escaped a mountain ambush in the Hindu Kush while carrying 3 injured teammates through enemy fire. No one believed she had fought non-stop for 6 brutal hours during a hostage extraction that the global press still thought was a routine exercise. And above all, no one believed she could fight. That assumption was about to cost them. The arrival of the 3 troublemakers, the trouble started the week 3 new soldiers transferred in. Sergeant Brock Lawson, loud, arrogant, and absolutely convinced he was the strongest man in any room he entered. Corporal Evan Cross, forever recording workouts for his social media channel, chasing validation as if it were fuel. And Private Tyler Boone, the youngest of the trio, eager to prove himself and far too influenced by the other 2. Together, they unofficially called themselves the Iron Hounds, a nickname they'd chosen because they believed they were aggressive, dominant, and untouchable. Mockery was their favorite sport, especially when it came to anyone who seemed quiet, small, or out of place. The first time they spotted Lieutenant Rowan Pierce in the gym, alone and moving through light stretches in a plain gray PT shirt, they exchanged knowing grins. "Yo," Brock said loudly, making no effort to lower his voice. "Looks like admin lost their office clerk." Evan raised his phone, already recording. "Man, she's tiny. If she's here for combat drills, this is gold content." Tyler chuckled awkwardly, unsure whether to laugh or stay silent. Rowan didn't react. She didn't glance in their direction. She simply continued stretching, steady breathing, controlled movements, perfectly calm. None of them realized that calm wasn't indifference. It was restraint. The first warning moments later, Captain Miles Turner stepped into the gym. He was one of the few people on base who knew exactly who Rowan Pierce was and what she was capable of. "Lieutenant Pierce," he said, nodding respectfully. "Your assessment rotation starts today. Need anything before heading to the training field?" Brock's eyebrows jumped. "Lieutenant." Evan laughed. "Guess they're handing out ranks now." Captain Turner turned slowly toward the Iron Hounds, his voice hardened. "You 3, consider this a warning. Do not underestimate Lieutenant Pierce. She has more real-world operational hours than all of you combined." Brock smirked. "Yeah." "Doing what, filing reports?" Evan snorted. Tyler joined in half-heartedly. Captain Turner shook his head, a faint smile tugging at his mouth. "Some lessons have to be learned the hard way." Rowan picked up her water bottle and walked out of the gym without saying a single word. Brock watched her leave and scoffed. Didn't even talk back, probably intimidated. Evan nodded confidently. "All 3 of us, 5 seconds max." Captain Turner chuckled quietly to himself as they talked, if only they understood what had already been set in motion. The soldiers decided to push her limits that afternoon. The Iron Vipers lingered near Sector Delta, a quiet stretch of the compound usually reserved for high-level combat drills. They were certain Lena would pass through on her way to the evaluation chamber. Jax lounged against a supply crate. "When she comes through, we check her," he said. "Nothing extreme, just enough to remind her how real operators move." Evan grinned. "I'll film it." "This one's getting shared everywhere." Troy hesitated. "I don't know, man. Sergeant Wolf warned us." Jax smacked his arm. "Chill. It's just pressure." "What's she gonna do, give us a speech?" Evan laughed. Exactly. She won't throw a punch. She looks like she's scared to raise her voice. They waited. Time dragged. Then, at last, Lena Cross appeared, walking with measured steps, a folder of assessment files tucked under her arm. Jack stepped forward, cutting her off. Well, well, Lieutenant Cross, he sneered. Heading somewhere important? Lena locked eyes with him. Move. Her tone was calm, level, lethal. Jax chuckled. And if we don't? Evan slipped behind her, phone already raised. Troy closed in from the side. She was boxed in. 3 men. Bigger, armed, confident, Lena exhaled slowly. I'll say this once, she murmured, placing the folder gently on a nearby crate. Step away now, Evan scoffed. Or why, he never finished. The next 12 seconds rewrote everything. Before Evan's mind registered the threat, Lena moved, fast. Precise. Her palm snapped into his wrist, shattering his grip. The phone spun into the dust. Her elbow followed without pause. Crack. Evan collapsed, choking for air, clutching his ribs. Troy froze. What the Jax lunged, reaching for her arm. Wrong move. Lena slipped inside his reach, motion flawless, controlled. Her knee drove upward. Wham! Straight into Dawson's solar plexus. The corporal folded instantly, gasping as if the air had been ripped from his chest. But Evan, rattled and reckless, lashed out in blind panic. Lena intercepted his wrist mid-swing, rotated sharply. Evan cried out as his legs buckled beneath him. She guided him down with controlled force, one hand braced behind his neck, and murmured so quietly only he could hear, "Never strike someone you haven't evaluated. You might shatter your hand, or worse, lose your life." Then stillness. The entire clash had taken 11 seconds. 3 fully trained soldiers lay scattered across the floor, immobilized. Lieutenant Lena Cross stood composed at the center, breathing even, posture flawless, not a strand of hair disturbed. She retrieved her training binder, brushed off the dust, and surveyed the stunned men. Dawson wheezed. What are you?" Lena lowered herself beside him, gaze sharp and unwavering. "I told you to step back," she said quietly. "You chose not to listen." Tyler groaned from the floor. How do you fight like that?" Lena straightened to her full height. "Remember this," she said coolly. "I'm not an assistant. I'm not a bystander, and I'm definitely not afraid of you." She moved closer, her tone lethal in its calm. "I'm a Navy Special Warfare combat instructor." Evan's eyes went wide. "Special warfare, as in—" Lena gave a single nod. "Covert missions, close quarters command, 2 deployment cycles, 3 hostage extractions, and I led a classified unit that doesn't exist on paper." Dawson swallowed hard. "You could have killed us." She held his stare. "Yes, without effort, but that's not what professionals do. Power isn't about damage, it's about restraint." She turned away, then paused. "Report to Commander Hale," she said flatly. "Tell him you tried to evaluate a lieutenant. He'll handle the rest." And with that, she walked out, leaving them sprawled in pain, shaken, exposed, and humiliated for the first time in their careers. Consequences. Within the hour, the truth rippled through the base. Whispers echoed down every corridor. "Did you hear? 3 operators tried to corner Lieutenant Cross. She neutralized them in seconds. She's legit, real special forces." By nightfall, Lena Cross was a name everyone knew. The Bulldogs were summoned to stand before Commander Hale. Dawson spoke first. "Sir, we misjudged the situation." Tyler nodded fast. "Badly." Evan's voice shook. "We didn't know who she was." Commander Hale studied them, expression caught somewhere between quiet amusement and deep disappointment. "You really thought surrounding a woman trained alongside Raven unit operators was a good idea," he said flatly. "What outcome were you expecting?" No one replied. After a moment, he exhaled slowly. "You'll be formally cited for misconduct. You'll run corrective drills for the next 2 weeks, and each of you will personally apologize to Lieutenant Cross." They nodded fast. But Captain Hale wasn't finished. He leaned forward, his tone sharp and unforgiving. "Most importantly, you will never judge a warrior by appearance alone." "Am I understood?" "Yes, sir," all 3 barked in unison. The next morning, Avery was already on the track, tearing through laps at a pace that made seasoned operators stop and stare. Her stamina bordered on unreal. Ethan, Lucas, and Jonah approached carefully. Avery slowed, stopping directly in front of them. Ethan swallowed. "Lieutenant Cross, we're sorry for what we did." Lucas followed. We underestimated you, badly, Jonah added quietly. We thought you were just another officer. We were wrong. Avery studied them in silence. Do you know why you lost? She finally asked. Ethan nodded. We got arrogant. We didn't evaluate the situation, Lucas said. Avery gave a slow nod. And more than that, you fought with ego, not control. The men dropped their gaze, then Avery caught them off guard. I don't carry grudges. She said calmly. But I do expect you to train harder from now on. If you're going to fight, fight to improve yourselves, not to intimidate others. They nodded quickly, relief washing over them as she walked past. Ethan muttered to Lucas, Man, we're lucky she believes in mercy. Lucas let out a breath. Mercy's the only reason we're still standing. Over the following days, Avery Cross quietly became the most respected figure on the base. Soldiers who once overlooked her now saluted with genuine respect. Recruits whispered her name like a legend, and senior officers requested her expertise for advanced combat drills. But Avery never chased recognition. She trained for one reason only, to prepare for her next deployment. To stay sharp. Still, her influence spread. The Bulldogs, once loud and arrogant, became her strongest supporters. Ethan pushed himself harder than ever. Lucas deleted his old mocking videos and launched a new series focused on honoring real warriors. Jonah asked Avery for help correcting his combat stance, and she gave it without hesitation. She transformed the men who once tried to corner her into stronger soldiers, because that's what true warriors do. If you're watching this on Grow for Justice, hit that subscribe button right now. Stories like this, raw, intense, emotional tales of courage, discipline, and the unseen heroes among us, are what this channel is all about. Now tell me in the comments, where are you watching from? And do you want more stories about elite operators like Lieutenant Avery Cross?